Hey everybody, Rob Childs here, coming at you live and direct from the Tiger Castle property. It's been a little while since I've done a castle progress update, so I figured I would go ahead and do that. That's not to say that there hasn't been a whole lot going on here. We just had a little bit of a snag some time back. I'm sure some of you might already be aware what we had, the theft of power tools and things like that out of the tough shed. So note to self, tough sheds are not exactly all that difficult to break into, despite the locks and other measures you might put into place. So we spent some time putting in greater security precautions here, shall we say. Let's just say that Tiger Castle is now a whole lot more technologically advanced than I ever thought it was going to be before the castle ever even got its first stone laid to the ground. So anybody comes here now, we're going to not only see them, but the security cameras that are positioned all throughout the property are also linked to law enforcement. So if somebody's here, we're going to know it. It gives us a notification. We can see them. If it's somebody that's not supposed to be here, well, we just hit a button and law enforcement is on the way. But despite all of that, we've also done a great deal other things as well, not just improving the security posture out here. Now, the last time that you guys may have seen the last CastleTigris update, well, we had bought a bunch of porta potties in order to be able to facilitate people not having to necessarily dig a hole in the woods. Well, a whole lot more has happened since then. For starters, we have a well. Now, surprisingly, given the fact that this particular part of the property is on a ridge, they only had to go down about 150 feet before they actually struck water. So that kind of surprised me. I was expecting something much deeper, just given the other wells that are in this area. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and pleasantly surprised on top of that because this well pulls out 15 gallons a minute. Now, if you're not familiar with wells, anything that's in the double digits is considered to be excellent water output. So yeah, not only is it not all that deep, so if the time ever came that we actually had to go deeper, it's not going to be well, we're not starting in the thousands of feet, as it were, but also too, 15 gallons a minute. I mean, that's a lot of water. Okay, so as cool as I would have thought it to be, in order to have a hand pump, right, for the well water, it would be lend it a little bit more periodicity. Nonetheless, the well does indeed reach down 150 feet and beyond, and that is a lot of hand cranking in order to be able to bring water to the surface. So we got a motorized pump for that. But in order to do that, we didn't want gas. We didn't want that, it's noisy. We don't want to have that. So we got ourselves an electric, but electric requires power. So one of the recent additions to the CastleTigris property also, right here, permanently affixed solar panels. And of course, it doesn't do you a lick of good if you don't have someplace to store water. So enter one 5,000 gallon storage tank. And last but certainly not least, and certainly not something that was necessarily needed right now, but nonetheless it is adding to the cool factor, solid steel black tiger symbol sign that marks the beginning of the medieval village. Now, before you guys start bombarding the comment section on the YouTube channel with all of the questions along the lines of like, but Rob, what are you going to do about the periodicity of everything, right? All of that stuff is very modern looking. Not to worry, we've thought of that as well. So all of that is going to have a facade on it. It's going to be a very medieval / Renaissance looking facade in front of it. So it's not going to ruin anybody's medieval, not to worry. But one thing is for certain, we had to get these things in here because when you're going to hold events of the size that we are eventually going to be doing, you need to have a lot of water. You obviously need to have the porta potties in place. That too will have a facade around them. And eventually even those are going to get replaced with some actual wooden outhouses that are going to take the place of those. And again, lending it to that whole period look. But not to worry, we have taken all of that into account. So not to worry, nobody's medieval is going to get harshed. Even the security measures that we've got in place now all over the property are all blending into the forest. So it's not something that you'd have to know where it was in order to find it. And then you'd have to really be looking for it in order to see it. So it's important, yes, in order to maintain that period look to everything. Because like I said before, I want this to be a place where people can come and they can train in the same type of environment that gave birth to all of these martial arts that we are also passionate about. So for now, signing off. That's the latest on the CastleTigris update, and from this point forward, well, lots more to come.